Folks, welcome to Pro Trader Strategies. My name is Eric Wilkinson, and this is Spotting the Trade. So what we're going to do in this video is talk about the economic data, see how that impacts the markets, and then we'll wrap it up with talking about some strategies or some opportunities I'm finding in the market, and we're talking about the trades that I'm going to implement around those opportunities. So we'll build from simple concepts to real-life examples when I'm teaching. So if you want to play along, make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell right next to it, because that's really what's going to tell you when I pop in here unannounced. Comment, because you're going to drive the comment or conversation, and finally smash that light bulb or smash that like button when you get that light bulb moment. Gosh, a mouthful of marbles this morning. It seems like having a little bit of trouble, but we'll get on with it. All right. So without further ado, not a whole lot of economic data. We did get the zoo economic data coming out of Europe. It came in at 26.8, which was better than the expected 22.4. And for Germany, it came in at 29.9, expected to be 25.3. So pretty good economic data there. I don't think that's what's really driving the market. We're getting a nice recovery bounce here across the board in most of the markets here. So we'll take a look at, I think I actually forgot to share my screen. So hold on, give me 1 second here to share this. Make sure we got this going right. There we go. All right. So Bitcoin, yesterday, we've been talking about this last couple of days, massive sell-off in cryptocurrency for the last month or so. Finally seeing a little bit of a bottom here, right, with Bitcoin trading around 50,000. Ether, the rest of the cryptocurrencies, finding a little bit of support here. Now, I think that this is actually an opportunity to maybe get in small. I wouldn't go in full force here, but for Bitcoin with the pullback, Ether with a bit of a pullback might be a time, if you haven't had that opportunity to get involved, to maybe add a little bit of that to your portfolio. But with that said, keep in mind, last 12 months, majority of the volume in Bitcoin has been from these newer folks. So they could have the weaker hands. That's why I'm saying don't come in full force right now here at around 50,000. I think it'd be a time to nibble, but wait for your real recovery. Now, when we're talking about trading, yes, I do really like the type of trade here with Bitcoin, because when we see these types of candles, those are the candles we're looking for, where the bulls and the bears are finally really coming together and battling it out. This level at 50,000 is where we're seeing a lot of new players come into the game, new money. So that should give us a little bit of a bounce here back towards that point of control, or right around 58,000, okay, in Bitcoin. So if you haven't gotten in, this could be the opportunity right now. So don't want that, want to get rid of that. And there we go. Okay, but maybe not. There we go. Close that out. All right. Not surprising here with bonds coming off. We're seeing interest rates start to creep back up a little bit, but we're still holding on to this 160 handle in the bonds. So that's where I've been talking about. I think we're going to hang out for a little bit. 160 is the sweet spot, slightly higher than that, trading around 162. So we're about 2 points higher. I don't really think we're going to see a massive sell-off here in the bonds. Now, remember, when we're talking about bonds and the levers and pulleys that go on with that, remember, it's like a teeter-totter. So if the bonds start trading down, right, at a downward angle, that means price is going down. Well, if price is going down, then that means the interest rates are going up. It's just a teeter-totter, folks. They're inversely correlated. So as we would see these markets start to sell off back towards a point of control, you're going to see those incremental increases in interest rates. So if you're looking at refinancing, this could definitely be the opportunity to be getting involved in something like that. I would highly suggest, folks, that you're getting out there and refinancing if you have not at this point in time so far. All right, gold futures right at the point of control. Nothing really to see here. 1800 is really kind of what I've been talking about for probably the past year, and we're kind of finally hanging out there. Check out this massive drop in the VIX. That's because we had a huge turnaround yesterday across the board in the equities. Dow Jones Industrial Average settled above that 50-day simple moving average. Now, we talked about the 200-day simple moving average not really doing a whole lot here because it lines up with that point of control. That actually was very true. We kind of saw it peel back and forth between there. This 50-day simple moving average, because it's lining up very closely to this Fibonacci, this 150 extension, 35,300, that level is going to be something we're going to keep an eye on. This 50-day simple moving average is going to creep a little bit higher. Tag that line. That is kind of like what we would, a friend of mine, NASDOG used to say, that would create a thicker line there. Whoops, a thicker line, if you will, in the sand, where that support and resistance becomes a little bit stronger or more important to keep an eye on. So that, I'm going to say, is going to be a major support area that we're looking for, 35,300 for the Dow Jones Industrial Average there. NASDAQ making a push. We're going to make that push and try and get above 16,111. That would get us above this Fibonacci, and again, make that look like the bulls are in control here. Right now, settling below that is going to be a little iffy. Another thing that we're looking at here is in the NASDAQ, we talked about this before, down here with this head and shoulders pattern, we got a bounce, a head, a shoulder. Again, very similar to that. We're getting another head and shoulders pattern here in the Dow Jones, or sorry, in the NASDAQ. As you can see, shoulder, head, and starting to build out another shoulder here. So that would be a resumption, and you would have your neckline kind of drawn down to those 2 points that make that neckline there. All right, so head and shoulders building out. Now you'd probably want to see, if you're into that, thinking it's going to probably settle down 16,500 or below before we start seeing that rollover. Any trade above that is really going to start breaking that pattern down, and especially if it trades above this top of that head. Okay, so keep your eyes out for that, for the head and shoulders pattern. Again, very sloppy here on the head and shoulders. I wouldn't say it's as clean as the head and shoulders as we were looking at back in here, but still, with the NASDAQ setting up that way, it's going to make the E-mini S&Ps really feel that way as well. Now, we can see as of yesterday, just strength unabated as of right now. Bulls are in full control right now, but again, we're going to be looking for that topping pattern. I don't think the downside is necessarily out of the realm of thinking at this point. We're still watching how holiday sales are going. Not as great as a lot of folks were expecting. So better than what it first started looking at like on Black Friday, but just not nearly as great as I was really expecting here. All right, something to note here in NVIDIA. This is what I'm looking for as a bullish move here. We talk about this again and again, right? Where we're saying that these patterns here are what we're looking for. So when we're trying to find a bottom pattern like this, that's like a hangman doji, and we're going to be looking for more of a green candle, if you will. I don't have a green candle. Well, let's make it a yellow candle, I guess, since I don't have green. So we're looking for a positive move here in NVIDIA today after finding that little bottoming pattern there. So with that said, I see all of the FANGs doing very well right now. Even some of the other ones like Visa are doing well. But with this trade here, I want to play this to the upside and basically eliminate all my downside here. And we've talked about this with last week's webinar. Remember, we were talking about doing the ratio call spread, where you're doing a long call spread, but you add on a layer, a short call with that trade. That extra short call pays for my entire long call spread, and therefore I have no risk to the downside if this underlying sells off, because I do this for a credit. I show you how to follow these guidelines in the webinar, so please check that out, because I just don't have enough time to do it justice in this video. So I'm going to try and do this for a credit of around 68 cents right now. When I built it out, it looked like it was going to be very close to a debit, so I moved that trade into a credit on the hopes that we get a little bit of a push to the upside here on the open, and I'll be able to get some volatility expansion and get this trade cleared. So it's in the January, 45 days to expiration, trying to take advantage of that theta decay. just with the spot month being so close to expiration, I just wanted to go a little bit further out in time. And I bought the 310 calls in there and sold for every one 310 call I bought, I sold two 340 calls in there. So a 1 by 2, if you will. And I'm trying to do, like I said, 68 cent credit before the open. Not able to get that off right now, obviously, but something I'm going to be working going into this day here. So NVIDIA, Visa starting to make a bounce here. So across the board, these folks starting to look pretty good. Even if we go into the reopen trade where we're looking at some of the travel and leisure stocks, we're seeing Penn get a bit of a bounce here. Las Vegas Sands actually made a really nice move yesterday. MGM, I'm assuming, is doing well as across the board here with the casinos that I've been talking about. Trying to get ahead of these casino games because a lot of states opened up on the gaming. So I think that they're going to start seeing some windfalls coming their way. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Make sure before you go, you subscribe, hit the like button, and don't forget to comment. Oh, wait, before you go and you hit that subscribe, make sure you hit the bell so you get me when I'm coming in unannounced. All right, so if you can't take that, take it easy.